passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jared Watson.
And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hello and welcome, Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and Beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Hey, your first place Cleveland Indians kicked off the 2020 season, winning their series against Kansas City, which I think that's 9 home series in a row that they have beat the Royals. Starting pitching, shocker. Led the way with I almost said Justin Bieber, Shane Bieber on Friday. Good on Friday, and closing with Cookie Carrasco on Sunday. Man, seeing him still throwing 95 mile an hour, that was so nice, and he had a great start. J-Ram, we talked about it, Andy. He needed to go off. He needed to make us get the warm and fuzzies with the bat with him. 2 home runs on Sunday, a big 3-run shot that helped them break away from the Royals and get that second win of the series. And later, Andy's going to profess his love for James Karinchak. I might be with you on this one, Andy. And get ready. Browns training camp is set to kick off tomorrow with the always exciting testing and strength conditioning.
I mean, it's kicking off. But if you're expecting big headlines,
it's starting.
These first 2 weeks in Browns camp, I would suggest drinking stronger coffee.
But I would also say this, take it all with a grain of salt, because the guy who's supposed to be taking care of the safety with the Minnesota Vikings came down with COVID. So that's late breaking. I don't know if you saw that one, Andy. That was scrolling through Twitter. There's something there with that.
Sorry to hear that.
All that to be said, though, we are going to kick off the Browns 2020 season and look ahead with that. But first, man, I'm going to be pissed off throughout this entire episode over this. I've been pissed off all day over it. We're going to talk about the news here. Monday, July 27th, the Marlins have an outbreak of COVID-19, forcing them to postpone their game against the Orioles today. This is coming off of their series with the Phillies, and the Phillies had to suspend their game against the Yankees tonight. And this is a growing concern throughout Major League Baseball. They will have an emergency meeting coming up. Andy, holy shit! Because this is preventable. This was preventable. Give me the details, please, because I'm livid.
Happy Monday, everybody. When I was typing up this rundown today, I was saying, oh my gosh, I'm excited. I really engulfed myself in baseball this weekend. I watched every pitch from the Indians game. What a shocker to everybody out there. I just want to say kudos real quick to the last podcast from Francona. He was wonderful. For people who haven't listened to it, not to brag about ourselves, but I thought that was one of our best shows we've ever done. I would take a peek. I thought he was really, really good. We're going to have him on again. My son and I, Cameron, I have 3 boys. My oldest son does not like baseball, so he sat upstairs doing God knows what on Snapchat. But my other son and I were watching, along with my 6-year-old, watching a lot of the games. And Cameron and I got so into it on Sunday, we were watching Brewers, Cubs. We actually flipped on Padres, Diamondbacks, watched into that game. We watched into the Rays, Jays. So into baseball all weekend. I mean, really, really into it. I was jogging on Saturday afternoon, listening to the people at Miller Park for the Brewers game, and the Miller announcers were funny as a Juker and some other guy. And they were saying, because they have to announce their games from their home parks, they're like, as we bring you this broadcast, that noise you hear is the sprinklers and the grass unit coming on the field to clean up and get ready for next week's game. So there's all this. It was kind of fun in the background, and we are going to get to all the fun, and it was great seeing the Indians. All that to be said, it is what it is. Sometimes you got to live in reality. Sour milk got poured on us today. So the Marlins came out with some. You heard some rumors on Sunday, then it really broke out. Here's the latest of what we know, and pretty much this is all now, not sources. This is confirmed now. So the Marlins found out sometime over the weekend, more than likely some point on Saturday, it looks like. But let's say Saturday night into Sunday morning, they had found out they had 3 players who tested positive. Just 2 days after a fourth player learned of a positive test on Friday. 2 infectious disease specialists told The Athletic. By the way, what I'm about ready to tell you, credit The Athletic and Ken Rosenthal and Jason Stark. They did a wonderful job with this article earlier today on Monday. They said that these positive tests fit the definition of a clear outbreak of the virus within their team. Sources said those tests were not enough for either Major League Baseball or the club itself to give serious consideration. So Don Mattingly basically said, quote, never really considered not playing. Never of our mentality. Now here's
bullshit. Bullshit decision already. Number one. I got to interrupt, right. Andy. Bullshit. Don fucking baseball. Donnie fucking baseball. Bullshit quote. Bullshit.
By the way, I'll actually go a step further. Trying to navigate something where it's out of all of our depths. Jared, this isn't Jared and I's depth. We're not scientists. We're nothing. We're not any of this kind of stuff. When you're out of those kind of depths,
I'm kind of a scientist.
Well, no, right. Well, right. So, like, for what it's worth, though, like, to try to say to yourself, I can handle this information. The team. By the way, it's not just Don Mattingly. Probably the MLB Association, Derek Jeter, the Marlins. Everybody just said, hey, look, we're going to release this information when the time comes. They decide to play on Sunday. Girardi, by the way, I thought this was the interesting one. Let me see if I can find this quote. Girardi was one who said, quote, we sent a text to our players on Sunday morning, making sure that they knew what was going on. We're constantly reminding guys, I mean, you have to be safe. You can't really have a lot of contact with other people because you put everybody in danger, end quote. The biggest thing that came out of this, Jared, was the Phillies knew. They also decided to go play on, which, by the way, what they basically try to do here is try to play through it because they thought they could. This thing is so much bigger than all of us. This is science. This is a disease. It's hard. And I'm going to let Jared Lawson take the floor, but to sum it up quickly, this was a horrible mistake by MLB Union, Florida Marlins, everybody involved here. And even I put part of this on the Phillies too. When you find out that something like this happens and you make the decision not to talk about it more and maybe open up to the point of canceling the game on Sunday, now we're here today. Now the Marlins can't play their game tonight at home against the Orioles. They're going to play those games in Baltimore tomorrow. They're going to cancel the game tonight. It sounds like they're going to cancel the game tomorrow, too, in Philly. They're going to play in the Bronx against the Yankees. Jared, it opens you up. They try to do too many things where they thought they can control it. You can't control this. And my hope is from this, people learn from this and realize, hey, live in reality. You have to cancel games. You have to cancel games. You have to do things. You take precautions so you don't have outbreaks like is what happened here today to the Marlins.
How many months are we into this fucking pandemic, Andy? How many months? 5, 6? There's no excuse. There's no excuse for them to have played that game knowing that they had guys who were testing positive. No excuse.
None.
Baseball is already risking it by not being in a bubble. And that's on the players. That's on the union.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to do that, these coaches, these front offices, these teams need to be smarter. But once again, I am going to sit here and say Major League Baseball is a rudderless ship.
Yep.
A rudderless ship. Manfred is awful and should resign after this year, and I'm done with him. I'm done. The Marlins, Lord knows the Marlins, they don't need to exist and I'd be fine. Any Indians fan will probably tell you that. I cannot believe that they chose, knowing, willingly.
On Sunday morning. Both teams knew.
How fucking stupid do you have to be to then put the rest of the season at risk? How fucking stupid do you have to be, Major League Baseball?
Again, it's
Miami Marlins, Derek fucking Jeter, Don Mattingly. Assholes. Terrible decision. I don't give a shit how much you love how well they played the game on the field. I don't care how much you think they are baseball royalty. They're assholes. Because let one of these guys end up in intensive care. Let one of these guys end up on a ventilator.
By the way, speaking about that.
Worth the game? Worth the
By
game?
the way, staff members, people who handle like things like carrying luggage, things like that. Like you don't know how this thing can spread. It's so contagious. I just thought what you're saying, Jared, I was really surprised about A, that they knew this, and B, that the Phillies knew this. They knew this, and they said to their players, we're going to send a text message out ensuring that they knew what was going on. That's crazy.
Asinine. There's no there is such a lack of leadership. There's a lack of leadership. There's an abundance of ignorance. An abundance of ignorance.
Yep.
This is the type of shit that could end up shutting down the entire season.
It could sadly
for everyone, not just the Marlins.
But Jared, and I know you know this. I don't want to make light of this. This is the kind of stuff where people get really sick and possibly pass. And that's the stuff you don't want to have happen. Again, it's one of those type of things where baseball looks, again, I put it on, obviously the Marlins, but I put it on the Phillies. I put it on MLB. I put it on Rob Manfred.
Yeah.
I put it on the Union. Hey, everyone has these days of, okay, what MLB looks like here and what's come out of this is MLB from day one was talking about do, re, mi, and money. This had nothing to do with COVID-19. It's nothing.
Well, that's exactly what my statements were on.
Right, exactly,
exactly. Right?
You're right, and
you wanted the money. You're going to have to cancel the whole season because you're an idiot.
So, and all this comes to light right now because what the NBA has understood and what they have done is what the MLB needs to understand. You have to work together. The union and the owners and Manfred with his leading charge and the Marlins and the Phillies must do what's good for the health of people. Not what's good for Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. What's good for the sport. What's good for everyone's livelihood. Again, there are people in the stands. Not a lot, but there's people who are there's bat boys and bat girls and all sorts of things that are going on. There's umpires. There's things out there. It's bigger than just a Sunday game. And they made this about a game on Sunday. They hopefully will wake up. This is much bigger than a win or loss on a Sunday afternoon.
Short-term.
Again,
short-sightedness.
Thinking you could handle this like you would a pitcher getting injured. It's not that. I'm hoping, look, the only thing that I'm trying to do to give some positivity, I'm hoping this is one of those situations that everybody says, you know what, we learned. We have got to do protocols A, B, C, and D, and G quickly.
I can tell you already reading that bland piece of shit, nasty, empty worded fucking quote from Derek Jeter today tells me they didn't learn jack shit. And you know what? And you can sit here, Andy. I know that we both, I know I think the Marlins need to be shut down for the whole season, period. And I think depending on what the decisions were with the Phillies, they're not too far behind.
Well,
in my opinion.
Here's where I will go. The Marlins need to do one or two protocols here. They got to take today to get everybody safe. Because right now the Marlins don't feel like they have a grasp of the situation. I bet you they will, or I hope, shouldn't say I bet you they will. I hope they do by the end of the day tonight and into tomorrow. Because clearly after that game, they were running roughshod on what to do. So I'm hoping they control in this situation. And what Jared's saying, there are so many quotes from doctors today. You can read them all, and they're all right. This is a situation where, look, you can't go backwards, but this is why they did the NBA bubble, and this is why they did different things. I'm hearing people say stuff like, oh, in Phoenix, it gets too hot. That's the reason why they couldn't do it there. Well, all that to be said, all that's gone now. You can't take this back out. And by the way, there's too much money now that goes into this that I don't know what you do if you're baseball. So they got to clean this up quickly. And Jared, for the sake of the health of the game and to play games, they need to attack quickly and lock this shit down. Meaning like, hey, Rob Manfred, like it or not, needs to be in Philadelphia right now, monitoring the situation at the ground level. Needs to be there, along with Tony Clark, on the ground level, making sure everybody's feeling good and stuff. That's what kind of situation you have right now. It is that dire. It is that dire of a situation.
I don't know that I have any faith that any of this will be handled correctly. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them, Andy.
Right.
When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And we know who Manfred is.
This is a big moment for Rob Manfred. He's had many this time in the last few months, and he has not done well. This is another big moment for him because it's huge.
This is the worst I've ever felt in my entire life about baseball.
It's out of control.
It's been a slow build. It's been a slow build. And the irony is, I still love that game more
I
than
was watching
anything.
Diamondbacks Padres at Sunday at 6:00 because I love baseball. I love it.
But this goes right back to my issue with being able to love a game and also understanding that game is not more important than the lives of those who are playing it.
Yes.
And so you need to have accountability for yourselves when you're playing, to the other people that you are playing with, and leadership. I don't even want to call it that anymore. Management. I swear to God, Andy, I've yet to see anyone step up as a leader within the league, right? I just don't know where. I don't get it. Again, I don't know. I don't know where to look. I don't know where to look for messaging, for the right tone or words or setting. They're not. They're a fucking mess. Major League Baseball is a mess.
By the way, it's out of control. For them to bury this story with text messages on Sunday morning between clubs to just say, "Hey, Bryce Harper, put on a mask," because I think some of the Marlins might have a small outbreak here on the team. I mean, if that's a solution to this problem, that's a solution. That's the best we can come up with. With all that you know about this and everything that's been handled, baseball has got to come to grips with what they're dealing with. And again, I will say this, and I'll follow up what Jared says. Manfred, I think this is, I actually think this is, for his job, this is it. If he really wants to stay around and stick around and be there, I think this is actually it for Manfred. I think he's going to have to come through and lead. This is his chance to get this game back on its feet, make him feel good, put people back in the seats. Do I have faith in that? I actually don't know. Manfred's not proven himself to do anything like this. He actually at times, again, for this sport to have that knowledge and then bury it in the sand until Monday morning. What the fuck did you think the reaction was going to be? Are you lost? And by the way, Buster only says this, so I'm taking this from Buster, but kudos to him. Where's the press conferences? Where's Manfred today? Where's Tony Clark? Where are these announcements? Like, what is going on? Like, by the way, Derek Jeter, a piece of paper, you need to put your face on camera and talk. Yeah,
it was such a piece of shit message.
Terrible. And he should.
Yeah, well, I've always had a feeling about him too.
He's not looked good in this at all. And again, like, I put this on everyone. This goes on everybody. And Girardi too. Hey, maybe we shouldn't play today. Maybe we shouldn't play today. And he's looked at,
if they wouldn't have played that day, they'd have been able to play weeks down the road. And I don't know that they're going to be able to do that.
And by the way,
they're not going to have I don't think, Andy, this is the thing too. As much as the Marlins need to be shut down for the rest of the year, they're not going to be, because the same mentality that runs the Marlins is the same mentality that's running Major League Baseball. They are clueless. Well,
by the way, right now, Jared's point, what are they doing? They're going to bring their taxi squad to Baltimore, and they're going to. And by the way, they're not just replacing 1, 2, 3. Sounds like it's going to be like up to 15, 16 players being replaced. Whole new team.
I wouldn't go play for them.
By the way, how do you think of your Baltimore? Baltimore just winning 2 out of 3 in Boston, coming back, and now you're going and
coming off of the season that
they come off of. They somehow, by the way, real quickly, not to get off COVID too much, just quickly, love the fact that Red Sox stink. Okay, back to this. Now, Baltimore gets it. They have to go down to Miami, now have to come back and forth. Look, I have learned this. I have no fucking clue about COVID-19, nor will I ever predict what happens here. That I don't know. What I will say is this, to what Jared's alluding to. They have got to get their hands on this situation. Rob Manfred needs to be in Baltimore tomorrow on the mound saying, "Hey, I've got this. I'm here." And do a big speech about, "Hey, we got this. We're gonna clean this up."
Don't hold your breath.
Will never happen. And Derek Jeter putting out press conference statements on a piece of paper doesn't fucking work today in 2020, pal. Fucking put your face on camera, get on Instagram, Twitter, Google Meets, Zoom call, whatever, and take some questions and talk about this.
Having a lot of money does not make you a good leader. And by the way, the Marlins look
terrible in this. Terrible. Tough. I mean, to your point.
Andy, we have never led a show with anything besides Cleveland sports, right? We talked about this prior to leading the show today. Are we really going to bury the Browns? Are we really going to bury the Browns? And what we said, we have to. That's how
it's unbelievable.
I'm so pissed.
The only thing I can say that is not a positive, but it's the moment they have. It happened early in your season. So you can get ahead of this and you learn from it and you move on and you do the proper thing. Baseball hasn't done that yet once. Okay, maybe they will here. The other thing is Manfred has needed a moment to get his career and his PR strategy in shape. This is his chance. Do I think he's going to do it? Honestly, no, I don't. But this is a chance for him to do it. He doesn't know how. And by the way, Jared doesn't know how, doesn't give you faith. This is, this, when I read the Athletic story today by Stark and by Rosenthal, and I read that message from Girardi, well, we sent a text message to our players. A text message. A text message. Whoa. Text message. No one said, fuck, maybe we should shut down this game. It isn't like there's fans coming to the stadium. It isn't like you're canceling. I mean, what are we doing? Don't be bigger than a Sunday game at 1 o'clock. Don't do it. They made that game bigger than the health of the country and the people in the game. It's not good. Now, let's see how they react. Let's see how the latest is no game tomorrow in Philly either. They're going to go to the Bronx to play. The Yankees, I give them credit, said no fucking way we want any part of this in Philly. We're just going to send our team back to the Bronx. Fuck this. And I don't blame them. That's the right move to do here. And by the way, same in Baltimore.
Probably because they've been in the fucking middle of the shitstorm since the beginning in New York.
Yeah. And again, the thing is.
And you think Miami. That's the mentality that got Miami where they are. The entire city. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, again, Dr. Andrew Morris has been quoted a lot today. One of his quotes he said, and many publications quote, baseball's in huge trouble. It makes me wonder if they are listening to the advice of the experts. Terry Francona, just a few minutes ago here on Monday night, said, quote, about the Marlins outbreak, quote, stark reminder, end quote, of the times we are in. Scares the shit out of me for him.
Oh, I mean, again, people have to.
Scares the shit out of me.
People have to remember, there are bat boys and bat girls. There are all sorts of people still working the stadium. Not a lot, but there's still cameramen, camerawomen, reporters. They're everywhere. People handling bags, people picking up bats. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Grounds crew.
You're all in it together. It
can't be a Sunday 1 o'clock game mentality anymore. Can't be. And this is another one. Let me find this other quote from Mattingly, which I thought, well, here it is.
We'll go get some fucking seafood and beers after the game. No big deal.
Quote, never our mentality.
What was
Mattingly? Never really considered not playing. Never our mentality. Donnie, this is not.
What a stupid fucking words.
This is not the ninth inning, and you're matching up lefty versus lefty.
That is one of the that's one of the dumbest things.
Yeah, I mean, comes off.
Brr, I'm a real tough guy. Brr, I'm gonna fight this virus, play this baseball game. Brr, Don Mattingly. Brr, I got nothing for this.
And
Andy.
by the way,
I got nothing but anger and vitriol, and I want to slap the shit out of them.
By the way, I hope
that's all I got for it.
I hope everybody's okay with the Marlins has gotten this. That is scary. And they have. I feel for all of them. Positive juju. Thoughts and everything to those people. I hope they're okay, and I hope they're doing better today. Because it's got to be scary. And by the way, it's got to be scary for Don Mattingly. It's got to be scary for that whole front. And it's got to be scary for everybody who's been on these people traveling with them. So no, it's got to be scary. It's got to be scary for the Phillies. It's got to be. It's something you can't see. It's not something where you get COVID-19 and then a red buzzer goes off above your head. It's got to be scary stuff. I mean, we all know that. I'm not telling you anything that's new, but scary stuff. You just hope these precautions this event will give a stark reminder what's going on. I know it did to me today, and I didn't really need it. So I haven't been doing much anyways in this pandemic year. But it reminded me again. It's like this is how quick it can turn around and go in the opposite direction. Even in a place where I live in Connecticut, that's doing much better. It can go quickly.
And I think that we need to put that reminder out there. Again, this is not a situation where we want them to be able to play. We want them to be smart about it, though. This is the whole argument that I've been having throughout the past however many months. Keep the stores open, but to do that, you got to be fucking smart. Keep everything open. You got to be smart. You got to do the right thing. You got to wear the mask. You gotta keep your social distance.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have those fucking arguments with people that don't believe in it. I'm not gonna do it, Andy. I'm sorry, but you're fucking wrong 120%. I'm done with it. I'm gonna stay the fuck away from you, and that's how it's gonna be. But I still go golf because I'm outside, and all my buddies, we got our carts. We stay away from each other. You know, you can still have an enjoyable summer being with your family and socially distancing from your friends and being outside. That is what we have learned can keep you safe. Do the right things. These guys didn't do the right thing. And especially when you know you're in a group, when you're around a bunch of people, you're all responsible for one another. Everyone is depending on you to do the right thing. Every one of you needs to do the right thing for the other person on your left and your right. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to my right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Prayers, prayers and thoughts to prayers and thoughts and positive juju to the Marlins. I hope that they're okay. I hope that everybody feels better who's gotten this. It's got to be scary, and I hope it's contained. I don't want to hear any more. I don't want to hear any more about how there's another outbreak. That stuff is scary, and I hope all those people are okay. A lot to be said. Strange way to start off your Monday after a great weekend of baseball. Great weekend. I thought it was a great weekend of baseball, especially when you're an Indians fan. All right.
Cleveland Indians.
Let's try to take this on the field if we can. So the Tribe did win 2 out of 3 this weekend. And we'll begin and end with probably Bieber and Carrasco. We'll do Carrasco first, because that's what happened latest on Sunday. Great to see. We all know his story. Tribe with a blowout win. It's all about Carrasco. Quote, "My emotion was good. Really strong today. My last start was May 30th, so I wait for this moment. I feel really good, keeping my emotions down, just thinking about how I'm going to pitch. Even just getting here to the park this morning," end quote from Carrasco. It was great to see. You could tell that this whole game was set up by the first inning. He looked great coming in, and then the Indians, who the night before, which we're going to do briefly, looked terrible on Saturday. Really, the inning unraveled with Mejia error. And then Lindor, even though Lindor struck out, Lindor had a good at-bat, fouling off good pitches. He struck out. But what happened, it looks like it exhausted Bolanos for the Royals. Santana walks. Reyes strokes a single. You could tell after the Reyes single, Jared, everyone took a breath. And then Santana, who was first pitch singing, Domingo Santana, roped a single. And then, away we go from there.
Well, I will say that you brought up Frankie, and that was one of the worries I think that we had throughout the weekend. But it looked like towards the very end of it, he figured it out a little bit.
Getting there.
He was swinging. He was swinging at some shit. He was swinging at bad pitches throughout the series. I'm not too worried about that. J Ram absolutely has come through right off the beginning of the season to make me feel better. Santana, of course. I'm high on Santana. I wish he was a little faster. There was a time where he was rounding third, and I wish he would have been able to score. A younger, thinner something. Carlos Santana would have.
It's Carlos, right? Yeah, let's just say Carlos, right? Yeah, we got 2 Santanas now. It gets a little tricky.
Well, Carlos, I'm talking about Carlos Santana.
Yeah, I knew you were.
There was, Fremel Reyes hit a bomb that was a foul ball. Unfortunately, the team looks good. Now, we do have an area that is, like we knew would be, a concern, and it's that bullpen. But I will also say this, that it's still very early. But that second game in that series was one that pissed me off because it just felt like they were dead. They were floundering. And they didn't have a strategy for the man on second. Whereas the Royals had a strategy for their man on second in extra innings.
This team.
And they had an opportunity in the ninth, and Perez blew it.
But Perez blew it. Mercado blew it. Mercado had a chance to win the game on a sac fly. Couldn't do it. Perez struck out in the ninth, and then it carried over. J-Ram was great on Sunday. J-Ram struck out in a big spot. And by the way, Cesar Hernandez has been wonderful. His 10th inning at bat on Saturday was atrocious. And I love Cesar. Nothing against. By the way, that guy's a pro. I love him. But he had a bad at bat at the top. He had 2 men on. Zimmer got hit by a pitch, and he had a terrible at bat in the Saturday night game. J-Ram struck out, and Lindor didn't have a good at bat either. Struck out. When you have, Mercado, Roberto Perez, Cesar Hernandez, J-Ram, and Lindor, five pretty good batters with spots to either win or tie the game, and they don't do it, and all of them strike out. It's alarming. Now they came back and bounced back. Lindor right now is off. Even though he got a single in that game, or was it a double? I think it was a double yesterday. He had a bad base running error going from second to third and got tagged out. He had a great defensive play on Saturday though. So Lindor's gonna be fine. I'm not gonna harp too much on that. The only thing I would just say about this team that you could tell is they're still trying to find their groove. I agree with what Texas was on the weekend, trying to settle into the season a little bit. The only problem is it's not 162, it's 60. And that's the biggest difference here. There's just not a lot of time. The one other thing Domingo Santana, by the way, that guy swings at the first pitch. If Domingo Santana's up, you better get your ass to the TV because he's going to swing at the first pitch. I like that guy. He's very aggressive. Reyes looks okay. Carlos Santana is still in preseason mode. He looked that way. Cesar Hernandez is a real deal. Love that guy. That guy is a legit leadoff hitter. Get ready, get excited about him. The bats are somewhat getting there. They got a much-needed mulligan from the Royals who had a bullpen game on Sunday. That's exactly what they needed. And look, it's back to basics. The Indians starting pitching were bearing the lead. Bieber was wonderful, broke a record for strikeouts and a shutout performance on an opening day. He was unreal. He was fantastic. The only thing, and I'll get to the bullpen last, I thought that was a pleasant surprise. The only thing that Jared brought up, and I love Francona. Love him. He's my manager. That he is not a guy who bunts. And in the 10th inning, you saw that coming up. When you have first and second, and even Zimmer coming up, he didn't bunt either. He got hit by the pitch, so he got bailed out.
Right. I mean, Francona won't bunt, but he doesn't take away the opportunity from those players to make that call either.
Cesar put the bunt out and he got strike one, and then I thought after that Cesar lost as a bat. It was the first time he just did not look good. I don't know how to say it. That was a terrible at bat by Cesar. All that to be said, the Indians have never been able to bunt. It doesn't matter if it's him, Greg Allen had a horrific bunt 2 years ago. This team has not ever bunted well with Francona. If they get to extra innings and you get another situation like this, to what Jared was alluding to, I think that's going to have to become more of a discussion. Francona's quote was this: "So we are a hit away from winning the game," was our thinking. Francona also went on to say, quote, "We were okay starting out to bunt, but if you're bunting into an out, that first baseman was so far in, that's really difficult to convert on something like that," end quote. Speaking about Cesar and what he was trying to do there. Look, all that to be said, you can tell they were trying to go for the fences. That's what Francona does. He gives the option to the batter, but he's a very aggressive-minded manager. Even if he had the bunts on, he doesn't like the bunt. But this is something, I won't elaborate too much more. This team doesn't bunt. They never have. They're not good at it.
Well, you're going to have that when you're leaving it on the batter. You're going to have that work out sometimes, and you're going to have that not work out sometimes. And especially when you're dealing with youth, and there's a lot of youth on this team. And as we saw, the lineup shakeup that came throughout the weekend, I really liked what they put out there on Sunday. I liked what they were able to put together. I liked what Zimmer did. Yep. Now I will say they should have never challenged that. I didn't think his steal. Early in the game. I think Matt Underwood thought he was safe, but he was not even close to being safe.
I'll quote Cameron Billman. What are they doing?
I didn't know why they did that. The Zimmer steal was weird. It was a bad, it was almost a pitch out in a sense. Perfect pitch to throw him out on two. So there's little things, but you can't be mad because you're walking away with 2-1 on a series. At the same time, not every team is the Royals. the Royals are beat the fuck up. The Royals are missing players on the injury list with COVID.
Their pitching is a mess. The Royals can hit. I will say, Soler, Whit Merrifield, Gordon.
Right. But you don't have to stress. All right. But what do we have? A Carrasco, a Clevenger.
Buddy, it's all there. You're right.
And a Bieber.
Right. Here's the thing about the Royals. I'll put this in a bow. The Royals batting isn't as bad. It always surprises me. Whit Merrifield is an all-star. He's one of the best hitters in the game. Soler led the league in home runs last year. Salvi Perez always hits the Indians, and he did this series too. Alex Gordon's Alex Gordon. He looks a lot better than he did 2 years ago. He's playing better. And Mondesi's a good young player. They're top five. Now, after you take away the top five of the Royals, the rest of the lineup's not that great. No one scares you. They're starting pitching. Danny Duffy finally had a good start. He was overdue. Everybody else, I mean, that guy Spire, I'll be honest with you, I think it was just one of those games the Indians didn't want to hit. So whatever, he didn't really blow you away. It's just one of those goofy games the Indians didn't want to hit. And then you saw the bullpen. Bullpen for the Royals is a disaster. So Jared's right, but they won. And here's something I've learned about baseball. And so this was told to me years ago, and I stick to it. I'm sure, I don't know if Jared will agree or not. In a 3-game series, usually what happens is, in most series, one team clearly wins one game, one team clearly wins the other game, then you have the middle game, okay? Now, in this series here, the Indians and Royals battled out 2 close games. The Indians won one, Royals won the other, and the Indians blew them out because the Indians are the better team on Sunday.
Yeah.
That will get you in the playoffs this year.
Absolutely. And yet still, there are a lot of people out there who do not believe the Indians are a playoff caliber team, and that really amazes me. That blows my fucking mind.
So I want to pour some healing ointment. I love James Karinchak. Listen to previous podcasts. He's fucking sick. I'm getting his jersey. I love that he thinks he's Ricky Vaughn. I love all of it. All of it! I love him.
Yeah.
Cam Hill.
I'm 100% with you.
I love James Karinchak. Love him. J-Rams 1. Frankie's 2. Karinchak's a big 3. Love him. Bieber 2. They're all there. I love this guy, Cam Hill. He pitched an inning on Sunday. Love him. That guy's going to be exciting. He's a good young pitcher for the Indians. Love what I saw there. Wickren was solid, Boilermaker. Solid in both appearances. Looked really good. And Brad Hand, hey, I was fucking wringing my hands, but I got to admit, the guy got out of there. He got out of there. He got out of there, okay? So, I would like to see Karinchak. Can Karinchak just throw the 8th and 9th? Karinchak,
for the 8th and 9th.
Here's my 3 names: Karinchak, Cam Hill, Wickren. We're fine.
What about Sember?
Dicey.
This is the shit that scares me. Oliver
Perez and his trick pitches.
Nope. I don't have time for it.
I love him, by the way. I love him.
Listen, 60-game season.
Hey,
burn those fucking arms out with those guys,
Oliver
please.
Perez.
There's no way you can't even burn their arms out.
I love Oliver Perez.
The guys that we're talking about.
And by the way, I love Oliver Perez. Hey, the 7-1 game, throw him out. 7-2 game, I like it. In a big spot against the Yankees. Slowing down arm angles. I don't know.
Can't do it.
A little dicey. Brad Hand, I'm building my way back. I think I'm not sold, but that was a good start to the season. I don't want to shit on a bad save. That was a good save.
Let me ask you this too, and it wouldn't be good for his ego or his development. Carrasco, there's a chance he could be that number 2 starter. And that Clevenger's more of that 3 starter.
Clevenger's really good. Here's the only thing about Clevenger.
Yeah.
Here's the only thing about Clevenger.
I just saw some things that kind of reminded me that he hasn't developed as much as I wanted him to. But
here's the only thing about Clevenger.
I'm being nitpicky as hell. I'm not going to even try to hide.
Here's the only thing about Clevenger that bothers me. I thought he got strike 3 in the first inning with Soler. We all did.
Right.
And he unraveled for 2 batters. He got pinged by Soler, and he threw an absolute gopher ball to Salvi, and Salvi doesn't miss gopher balls. And it was 2-0 like that.
Well, that's what happens when your best buddy,
you know where I was going,
has that same.
You know where I was going.
Got that same.
Clevenger is better.
It's in the head.
Better than that, because by the way, he closed out the game with 10 straight outs. As that guy grew, so he grows. I mean, he is
right. He got better throughout the game.
Yeah, I actually think,
and you can't be mad at him. With 2 runs.
Again,
it's just.
I know. He's the best.
That's all.
He is your 2. Could be your 1 on most teams, but now Shane Bieber. That guy, Shane Bieber, is unbelievable.
I had a buddy text me and say something like, who is this Bieber kid? And
oh, it's nasty.
And he's tried to say he wasn't that good.
No.
And this was on a 3-person text thread. I can't even talk about it. These are some of my best friends in life. And I swear to you, the moment that I talked to the other friend by himself without that friend who made that comment, he goes, "What the fuck was he talking about?
Shane
Does he even
Bieber's
watch
not
baseball?
Good.
I couldn't believe
maybe
it.
Sports,
I couldn't believe it. I said, "Have you never watched him? What are you
maybe
talking
sports
about?"
isn't this thing. No, it's okay. All right, it's not for everybody.
It's hilarious. This is a kid who's played. Anyway,
one more note I want to hit on, and then I want to go to Kluber real quick. Then we'll get it out into the Browns. Roberto Perez does not get talked enough, and in Game 1 is a great example of Roberto Perez. And they all commented on it, and I noticed it again. Sandy Alomar said it. Quiet hands. Roberto Perez. Watch Salvi Perez and watch Roberto Perez, the Royals catcher and the Indians catcher. Salvi Perez it's a real hard. It's like a grab back. With Perez, I can't even do it. He's so good. It's like he's bringing pitches back, and it's so sleight of hand. He has such a quiet hand in the game. He had a big at bat in the 5th inning to score the second run of the game. Roberto Perez is a very good player. I know he struck out on Saturday, and that stunk.
Oh, I'm not mad. Golden Glove, and he had his throw out. He threw a guy out second too. With a bead, so I'm not worried about him at all either.
For how much I love Yan Gomes, I actually think Roberto Perez is better. He is such a good catcher.
Well, can we also say the Leon kid did well on Sunday too?
Good backup catcher. Great backup catcher. He's a backup, but he's a great better than Pilecki. And I love Pilecki. He's a Boilermaker, but Leon's better.
No, he's better, and he looks comfortable in the box too.
Yes.
I don't know how well he's going to hit, but I don't have a problem with him.
I just want to give props to Roberto Perez. He is a good catcher. It does not get enough props. And on Friday, Bieber was the show. The guy who was the backstage hand was Roberto Perez. He did a great job calling that game, defensive presence. The quiet hands, as Sandy Alomar says, and he had a big at bat in that game to score a run. Anyways, we don't want to say you told you so, because we don't want to see people get hurt like Corey Kluber. But Corey Kluber did suffer a torn muscle in his shoulder in his Rangers debut. He's going to be shut down for 4 weeks, which in this season.
It was in the 1st inning too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Look, I hope Kluber's okay. He's a good man, a good dude, and I'm rooting for him. I am rooting for him hard. This points to the things, though, what Jared and I alluded to. That's why that trade made sense. Kluber's not pitched in 2 years, folks. And I hope he's okay. And I want him to get back out there and pitch well, but I got to be honest, Jared.
Well, he's not the only Cy Young Award winner to go out there and get hurt. Verlander, although he was disputing it on Twitter, saying that he's out for the season, he's got his own issues, too, with an injury. This is the thing. These guys are great when they're able to throw.
Yeah. That's why for the Indians.
But even Verlander has had his issues, and now he's hurt again. Now he had an amazing season last year.
When Verlander's healthy, he's nasty. But look, this goes...
It's the same thing with Kluber for the most part, at least. He hasn't come back the same.
But this is the thing that Jared's alluding to, and I've seen this early on. Starting pitching is very thin this year, and it's thin throughout baseball. The Indians have a huge, huge ace up their sleeve.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of baseball now.
Yeah.
They are by far the best starting pitching staff right now in baseball. By far.
I've been saying it all to this build up. I don't know who has a better. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think anyone
either. I hope Corey Kluber's okay. Bauer, interestingly on Sunday, Bauer also pitched. They lost, but he looked good too in his start. So you had Carrasco, Bauer, and Kluber all going on Sunday. This shows you the depth of the Indians pitching, which we all already know. Look, the Chi Sox come to town. You got Savali and Plesac. Then you wrap around with Bieber. And then you go off to 4 to Minnesota. We're going to, if Jared can swing, and we might do a podcast again on Friday. We'll tee up the Twin Series going into the weekend. And then we'll see what happens in early testing with the Browns. Speaking of that, before we get to that, all that to be said, loved having baseball back. I was glued to every second I listened to everything on from Jensen Lewis to Al Pawlowski to Hammy. I was into all of it. I was total nerdy sports guy. Friday night.
I was like in tears on Friday.
Yeah.
The time I texted you, I said I'm way more emotional than I thought it would be right now.
Yeah, I was told.
I was grilling.
Yes.
Some chicken legs, ready to put in my homemade buffalo sauce. Fired up for that game.
Well, for people who don't know, I've been on a very, very extreme diet, so I made a good blended shake full of fruits and nutrients. Back in the day, I'd be with Jared Watson with having barbecue ribs, but
listen. This is COVID. This is 2020 COVID life. I am not, although I should, because the healthier I am, the better chance I have at surviving that shit too. So I got to be careful.
Well, once in a while, by the way, once in a while I dabble in that shit, but not as much as I used to. But God, I just love, I miss those days. I will say though, it was all great on Friday. It was great to see, and I'm in it, and I just can't wait for more of it. And I love everything about it. Loved it. Yeah. From hot dog races on the Indians.com platform.
And I think didn't Onion win the first one, which was weird, right?
Ketchup won the other day. I mean, Cameron Billman and myself, and I know the Watsons, I have enjoyed every second of it.
Cleveland Browns.
All right, Browns fans, we finally made it. After a long wait, the training camps have kicked off. A lot of this information comes from the great Tony Grossi, he's a good friend of mine. You read him on the Lane on my end. I think he's very easy to read. He gives good, straightforward information sometimes. I thought his preview in the training camp was very well today. So a lot of this is from his words that we're just going to retell and go into. The big thing, look, there's no preseason games for people who missed it. They came to an agreement on Friday and Saturday. So there's no more preseason games this year. The union and the owners came to an agreement on that. The big thing that's going to be happening for these next week is just testing. You're going to see you'll hear some light things probably on the Browns, but not a lot. The big thing that came over the weekend was the Browns placed Dontrell Hilliard and Devontae Moffett he was on the NFL's season. Boy, I'm fucking this up. On the NFL's reserve COVID-19 list. The team said list was created for players who were either test positive for COVID-19 or was in quarantine after been in close contact with an infected persons. So Dontrell Hilliard and Moffett. Moffitt's on the practice squad, but we all know Hilliard, and they're both going to be out now with COVID-19. I guess we'll call them issues.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know whether they have it or not. But the protocols are probably going to be a 2-week sit out. Correct. Is what we're probably looking at.
Correct. Yeah. So basically today they open up their facility. It really kicks off tomorrow, but they're bringing in people now to test. Tons of testing going to go on. Look, the only thing that we'll realize, which we're going to get more into the Browns on Friday, is there's not going to be a lot that's. I would be shocked there's a lot that changes from the Browns outside of make positive tests, cross your fingers, knock on wood. Hopefully it's not going to happen, but might and probably will. Between now and then, that's going to be the biggest news stories. You're not going to hear, Baker Mayfield threw out route, and you're not going to hear that. You're just not going to hear that these first 2 weeks. A lot of this is going to be about testing. A lot of this is going to be about trying to get players acclimated into the COVID-19 season that is NFL. That's all this week's about. Again, you're not going to, by the way, there's limited media. There's no fans. So, the interesting thing is, Jared, what you and I alluded to last year, the amount of buzz going in the training camp was great, wasn't it? It was excitement. It was all there. And this year, the Browns obviously had changed, but there's excitement after the draft. We were all fired up. And by the way, I think it's not a bad thing. It is what it is. What a flat start to training camp. I mean, there is no buzz. There's really no excitement. And by the way, I think that's what I was expecting after what just we went through.
And it plays into the Browns. It plays into the Browns' favor.
Yes, it does.
That way, especially with a new coaching staff. This will do wonders for the Browns. Now, what's going to be strange, Andy, is watching them come out there week 1 to play, if God willing, they're able to make that happen. And, and seeing how these guys come together as a team when last year there was no cohesion whatsoever. Are they going to be able to come out and make something happen? Is Coach Stefanski going to, you have to hyper accelerate the development of not only Baker Mayfield, but of the cohesion between these players and it just feels like there's a lot that we're asking for right now, Andy, in a very short amount of time. The good news is it's for everyone in the NFL. The bad news is some of these NFL teams that are already top tier teams have already done that. They're already ahead in that sense. This is the type of season that could result in Kansas City blowing straight through and winning it again. Right? You know what I mean? Yeah. A team that is already built on having that team unity, knowing what their game plan is, knowing their identity, knowing who they are, and burning through the entire season, right? The Browns, I'm sorry, this is one more thing. It works against you, I think. I don't know. I think it works against you. And it's another reason why this coaching staff is going to get a pass. I can't be mad, no matter what. I don't know whether Baker is going to be able to survive it if he has a bad season. That's going to be the tough part.
Everyone is jumping onto the Browns are going to have a lighter expectations, is what Jared was saying. That's what I heard a lot today. Because the doors are opening back up, articles are being written, and everybody's saying, well, and by the way, it's very understandable to what Jared just said. I mean, you have a rookie coach, a rookie staff, a rookie offensive coordinator, a rookie defensive coordinator. I mean, everybody in these positions here are very brand new. Jedrick Wills is your starting left tackle. You have some things that are going on. That Baker Mayfield, another new staff, no warm up or anything, no preseason game going into the season under a constriction. All fair. I can't believe this. I am on the opposite plane with everyone. Jared, I'm on the opposite. Really? This is bigger than this year. I learned this yesterday. It's about battling through a season with COVID-19. It's going to come down to with the Browns, how do you control and manage this with things that are going to happen like what happened in the Marlins? That's actually the season. It's not so much X's and O's right now. It's actually just grinding it out. And I'll be honest with you, I think this team is blown out of the park. So I actually think it's not a big deal. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think it's fine. I actually don't think the Browns have anything to really sweat out about if you stick to what you do well and you believe in yourselves. And you actually tell people like, hey, you know what? The days of going out to a bar in Las Vegas with a mask on are done. You're going to have to stay in. You're going to have to do things the right way. And you're going to have to perform as an organization. You're going to have to do things right now where it goes, hey, look, we have to really believe in this season of having we work as a team, we work as a unit, and we move forward. This organization's done that so far. I agree with Jared. Aaron Goldhammer today, Tony Grossi, Tony Rizzo, I don't have lower expectations. I think this is bigger than that this year. It's about depth. It's about your smartness, and it's about controlling the situations around you. The Browns have done that really well so far. So you know what? I actually say fuck it. I know they haven't played as a unit yet. I know all this, but it doesn't mean these other teams have. It's going to come down to how well is your organization run. And from what I've been reading and from what I've been told, I think this staff and this coach and GM Barry has a handle on this team. And because of that, I actually think they're going to be just fine.
I will end this, and only because Andy reminded me of it, about the days of being in Vegas bars are over. And it would be wrong of me to not drop this news because it's worthy of talking about. Odell was spotted at a Vegas bar. No names, please. I will not give the name of the person who informed me of all this. It's a friend. That person was excited to meet him. And I'll leave it at that from there. But the word is that Odell was there, and that I don't know how packed this place was or anything like that. I don't think it was very busy, but I could be wrong. I could confirm that later. I'm not really that worried about it. But Odell did have a mask on, and I believe he only had one drink.
And by the way, you're allowed to do that.
He didn't stay long,
no.
And he was wearing his mask.
By the way,
so there was no, but Odell is at the bar in Vegas. He is there. That is happening. By the way, Odell, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm not trying to say anything negative about you, but this is information that I should divulge. I should not hold on to this information. So I'm putting it out there.
Before training camp, I'm good with all that stuff. That's when you're supposed to be.
He's got to get tested when he goes in anyway.
Right, it's all fine. But now that the training camp has started, I think it has to go away to be successful. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's the cool thing to do. I'm just saying it's the only thing I think you got to do to win games this year. So I think that's great. Beckham did that stuff. In fact, I applaud him. You need to be doing that up until July 28th on Tuesday.
Right. And wearing your mask.
And by the way, he did appropriately. He had a great time. And by the way, we've all had our moments. That's cool. But
it wasn't a money phone cocaine night, so we're good.
He wasn't. Look.
Wasn't that?
Look. This isn't before Sunday morning playing Baltimore with Stefanski texting Harbaugh, "Hey, I think we might have." It's none of that. Okay.
He's not like, nobody's banging a Microsoft Edge pad on their head.
But the big thing that I keep hearing today from people is lowering your expectations because there's no preseason games. I don't think that matters in 2020. It's much bigger than that. It's about how you handle situations around you. It's actually bigger than the game. Ask the Marlins. It's bigger than the game. It's about working and coming together as one. That's what this season is about.
Well, I think that was my point, Andy, is that some of these teams have that advantage over the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns did not know how to come together as a team last season.
All fair. Again, I'm not. See, here's the thing. I understand what you're coming from. I just don't agree with it. But I think, I see the galaxy you're in. And by the way, again, I'm on my island here. But I just believe in my heart.
I'm saying anything's possible. It's the NFL. We fucking know that. There's going to be some parity in there. And part of that parity might be the Browns might be fucking badass. Browns might be 12-4. Who the fuck? Who knows?
I love Myles Garrett. I believe in him. I believe in
number 80 player in the NFL. The top one. Hey, you got to say it. By
the way, absolutely. Clearly a Steelers fan put that list together. Okay. I love Myles Garrett. I'm a big believer in Landry and Chubb. I love these guys. I think these are good leaders. Six is a leader. I think he looks and is acting very different this year. I think this is the right pool of people to do this. Now they have to prove it. And again, I'm not naive. If they fall flat in their face, I'm not going to be shocked or do a Ringer article to quote stupid things. But what I will do is this. I believe in this team. I believe in this. And I actually think this is on the right path to be successful. Will's not playing in a preseason game? Yeah, he's a left tackle. Yes. A new offense with Baker Mayfield? Yes. A new defense with a player who didn't play the last 6 games and Myles Garrett would like to see some of that? Absolutely, yes. Jared's right. All the other people are right. But I just believe it's bigger than the game, what's going on this season. And it's going to come together with leadership and passion just as much as it's about X's and O's. I'm seeing that already in baseball. I think it's going to be even bigger in football. Now, to the bigger question when it comes to roster. We'll get into this more on Friday. The big thing that's still being brought up is what to do with David Njoku. There's been no news since then. No news, whatever. Now, for everything I just said, this is an interesting situation. I still would trade him. He's not been traded yet. Again, I will say this with reference to him. I understand why he hasn't been and why he's hanging around. In fairness, we know Hooper's starting. And behind you have a rookie. David Njoku is a good person to plug in if something were to happen and Hooper gets injured for Njoku to come in and play. The Browns have an interesting situation. They believe in 2 tight end systems. So Njoku, just cutting Njoku on a regular preseason is thin. Let alone a COVID-19 world where players are not going to, I don't think they're going to be coming in and out as they frequently do in football. Jared, it brings up a question. I still would try to trade him. What would you do with David Njoku?
Oh, man.
It's not as easy and clear cut as I once thought it was a month ago. I still would try to trade him.
There's too much unsaid here, Andy. I don't know what has happened behind closed doors. I don't know what Coach Stefanski has said sitting down with him. I will say this, that number one, demanding a trade out in the public like he has with his agent and via Twitter is never going to be a good look. I don't care if it's 2020. I don't care if it's 2040. I don't care if it's 1980. Whatever. It's not going to be a good look to the people that you are kind of, in a sense, beholden to. Especially, again, I've said this a million times, you're on your rookie contract and you ain't done shit yet. So I don't understand what but maybe Stefanski's going to sit down and talk to him and go, what is it that has gotten you to this place? And who has been in your ear that made you think that this was the right fucking thing for you to do? Right? Yeah. Maybe there's influence there that we don't know about. Because I'm telling you right now, Njoku, look, and then he puts out the tweet after he said that shit later about I love everything that Cleveland said. Look,
by the way,
I don't give a shit.
Whatever. By the way, that's a throwaway line. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. It's a throwaway line.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means exactly.
It's a throwaway line. Just doesn't mean anything.
You should go be Derek Jeter's response writer.
Oh, no, it's true. By the way,
to adversity, might as well.
By the way, one more time, a press statement. That's all Jeter's got today.
Dude, I'm not going there right now because it shuts me down. It makes me want to stop talking.
It's amazing.
So I don't know. I don't know what you do. Do you keep Njoku? I don't know. If you can convince him that he was dumb for doing what he did, sure.
I was so hardcore on Cunningham, and when that question got brought up today and the way it was phrased, it's like, all right, now that's in play because that's.
I'd be amused though. I'd be amused if you can trade him to a team that you know damn well would love a mid to lower tier tight end that doesn't have anybody else.
I just, if I were the Browns, I just don't think it's worth keeping him. But I get it because they run 2 tight end sets. So now you're asking Hooper, which is fine, and Harrison.
Cool. Then you know what? Sign a free agent. Sign an unsigned free agent.
I know. I would do that. I'm so with Jared Watson.
Because a coach is good enough. If Stefanski's good enough, then he'll make whoever that is
Jared
in that
Watson
position.
Thank you. Goodbye. Trade him. He needs to go. It's gonna be okay. Thank you.
Who's gonna sign him? You know what? Send him to fucking New England for all I fucking care right now.
Goodbye. Don't have time for this.
Why not?
Here's a couple other key things, and we'll wrap it up. Strength and conditioning, weight room only stuff is August 3rd through the 11th. You can find this information on the internet anywhere. Players won't be on the practice field until the 12th. Basically, your OTA practices now are on August 12th through the 16th. Remember, those used to be the things at the end of May, beginning of June. Those are now on August 12th through 16th. Training camp really kicks off with pads on August 17th, leading up through the 6th. That's what they're going to do in 3.5 weeks. We already said there's no preseason games, whatever else. 53 is still the roster that they're going to go with right now. I would not be surprised if that goes up. But anyways, right now, they are still going to keep it at 53 once the season kicks off. There's a whole bunch of numbers between what they're going to do. Anybody can look that up. I don't know if it's that interesting. The only thing which I want to get into a touch today is the economics about this for the Browns now has changed because they did sign Myles Garrett, which is the right thing to do. And they got some players coming up on contract, but the salary cap's going to decrease. The Browns for the first time next year, Jared, are going to be a little bit under a crunch because they're Mayfield, Ward, Chubb are on the horizon. They are not going to have as much flexibility as they once did. It's not something you want to go too far down the road today, but keep in mind the effects of COVID-19 is not just in 2020. It is going to affect the Browns and other teams in 2021, especially with salary cap. Because the Browns, who have very, very much enjoyed a flexible salary cap, are not going to have that going into 2021. They're definitely going to have a... And by the way, just as we talk, and this is good for us, the Indians and White Sox has been postponed due to inclement weather. Yep. Tuesday game is going to be at 3:30, so it's a doubleheader, so that's good.
There we go.
And that helps out a lot.
Knew that was coming.
Yeah, had to. So doubleheader tomorrow, the Tri-Sox. No Tribe game tonight. So please act Savali back-to-back. By the way...
My wife is going to hate me tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, this is where your depth of pitching helps. You can bring back Plucko, and you can bring him up there and pitch on later in the week because you're going to need it because you're not going to have a day off.
7 hours of baseball on
Oh, my
Tuesday,
God,
baby.
can't wait.
In the Watson house.
Oh, I'll be there for every second, too, at the Billmans. While I'm doing work. But the one thing, the economics of the Browns is going to be interesting next year. I don't know how much we're going to get into it today, probably not a lot. But keep that in mind. COVID-19 is not just about what's going on on the field. It's going on also afterwards.
Yeah, it's going to change the look. There's going to be a lot of compromise. There's going to be a lot of conversations. And let's just hope that everyone can do it better than Major League Baseball has.
For the first time, the Browns are going to be under an economic crunch next year. Not a horrible one, but they're going to be under some crunches. They're going to have to make some decisions. The Browns haven't had to do that in a while. Jared, I don't even remember.
No, they're a team that have been consistently like $50 million below the cap every year for the past however many years.
Very much under the cap.
Yeah.
The NBA's on Thursday. They tip off. Of course, no Cavs. There's been a couple of stories in there. I'm going to read it. There's a story I've not read yet about Windler that was done in the Cleveland.com. I'm going to take a look at that. That's that other player we got in the first round, never didn't play this year. We'll try to touch on the Cavs here and there. That is the one team that has kind of gotten lost in the weeds here, and it's a shame. But honestly, Jared, I don't know what else to say. The Cavs are going to be back burner for a while because there's no games for them. So it's going to be a little bit. But the NBA's back. And I'll be into that too. The NBA's back on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to jump into it. Maybe I will. I know that sounds awful, but it's
not awful.
I don't know how much I care right now. I'm so sucked into baseball as much as they piss me off.
I am so into baseball. I'm watching Jays and Rays on Sunday.
Yeah, that takes a lot.
I was there.
That's love.
I was there.
Love.
I was there for the
But isn't that just a signal? There you go. Major League Baseball. If you just gave a little bit of a shit to get your shit together, if you just tried a little bit, imagine the enthusiasm you would have.
They had a wonderful weekend, I thought. And then Monday morning happened.
I was pacing through the living room. I had to walk outside. I walked back inside. I was so mad. Anyway.
Not a good.
That's what happens when you. There you go. Yankees royalty all over the place, handling that shitty situation.
Dark.
Yeah.
It was a dark Monday, but again, you just hope. So I always try to put a positive spin on everything. That's how I think. You just hope this is the moment the league can grasp and figure out they don't have their hands around this mentally or as an organization. You can't think as MLB union here, MLB here, MLB owners here, Manfred here. No. It's a together process. You have to work as one unit.
Cool. Not holding my breath.
Again, I'm with By the way, I'm with Jared.
You don't have the right leadership.
By the way,
you don't have the right people in leadership positions. Rather, that
what does reality tell you?
You just don't.
Is that going to happen? No.
Follow us on Twitter at CLE and Beyond, at CLE and Beyond, on Facebook, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond, and shoot us an email if Andy's phone's on. Got his volume up. Whatever. There's worse thing. There it is. Still loud. Facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond. Hey, shoot us an email, Andy and Jarid at gmail.com. Andy and Jarid, JARID at gmail.com. We're going to be changing some things around here too. I figured I should throw this in there. The show, the branding, the name, the look, a lot of it's going to be changing over the next couple of weeks, maybe a month, depending on how long it takes me to do some things. But the show Cleveland and Beyond will, for the most part, be recognizable, and it won't change so much that you won't be able to find us or anything like that. Cleveland and Beyond will be the staple. We think we're going to, put our names to the back, cut that off, whatever, just make it easier. There's a lot of there's some just technical bullshit that we're going to try to do. Yeah. Tinkering around. We're tinkering around. We're seeing what works.
I'm going to start posting on it. We have 0 followers, 0 following, but we're excited. TikTok at Cleveland and Beyond. And also, I'm going to get on TikTok, and it's at BelieveLand. So at Cleveland and Beyond, at BelieveLand on TikTok.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do some ticks or some talks. That'll be exciting. Can't wait. And all that to be soon is true. And then Kaylee Waterhouse, you'll hear that name more and more. She's helping us out, doing a great job. She's going to rebrand Facebook and websites and all sorts of stuff. It's all good. It's all exciting.
Yeah, I just got an email. I didn't know it was from her. She still got her .edu email.
Yeah,
sending
she's
some stuff
hustling.
out. We're going to have her come on and kind of introduce herself at one point, too. So we'll be working on that down the road. Anyway, Andy, any last thoughts? Because I'm just so spent on this baseball thing.
Great.
I'm so... How fitting that the Indians are rained out tonight.
Needed. They always have rainouts on days where I need my breath, and I got it tonight. It's so true. The Indians are great at a good rainout. Obviously, they control the weather.
Except for 2016, one terrible rainout.
Oh, my God, right? By the way, okay, a couple more things. Now you triggered my thoughts. Brian Shaw throwing fastballs at the Astros, by the way, on purpose. That was interesting. I shouldn't say on purpose. I shouldn't say on purpose, but it was it looked intentional. And then don't care. All that to be said, this has been, for what Jared said, enjoyed watching the Indians. We'll be all over it this year. Exciting about the testing week for the Browns, even though it's just testing. Don't lose hope on the Browns 2020 season. I'm telling you. I've never predicted anything wrong in a publication ever. Believe in what I say. Believe in what I say. And then we will find out. Jared and I will be back on Friday. I guarantee you on Friday we'll probably have a better idea about college football.
If you have COVID and if your team knows about it, do not hide it. Do not act like everything will be okay. Do not play the fucking game. Do not risk the entire season. He's Andy Billman. I'm a very disappointed Jared Watson. We're brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. Fucking Marlins. Talk later. And Marlins man too.
Oh God, Marlins. See, that's too late in the show. Yeah, Marlins man, wonderful, wonderful.
See ya.